Welcome back to the Max Reality. If you've seen my face before, then you know the drill, but if you're new here, I love talking all things reality TV, and today we are talking about a game show classic, and that is Dog Eat Dog. Whether you saw it live when it was airing in the early 2000s, or you're like me and remember watching it on late night reruns on GSN, or maybe you haven't heard about it at all, this will be a nice trip down a very wild show that I do not think we would be able to make, at least in the exact same way, again today. I need to take a moment to shout out Wikipedia, a YouTube channel called Dog Eat Dog USA, and then so many random blog posts and forums for helping me piece together this lost internet relic. I guess it's not lost because, again, thanks to that YouTube channel I mentioned, if you want to go check out Dog Eat Dog for yourself after this, you completely can. And all that will be linked down below with my links, but truly, finding information about the show was much harder than I imagined it would be. Dog Eat Dog was a game show that originated in Britain and then, luckily for us, came to the US, along with countries like Australia, Germany, Poland, and Singapore. It ran in the US on NBC from June 17th, 2002 to August 26, 2003, and was hosted by actress Brooke Burns, who most people probably recognize from Baywatch. Or more recently, you may have seen her being a game show host again in a show called The Chase. So how Dog Eat Dog worked was they would take 6 different contestants, and at first they went to this training boot camp sort of thing that we got to see little bits and snippets from, where they would do physical challenges and trivia and different things like that to prep them for the actual filming of the show. Then once we get to the Dog Eat Dog studio, the real games begin. First, our host Brooke Burns will describe a challenge that somebody will have to face, then each of the 6 contestants vote who they think is most likely to fail that challenge. Whoever is then voted goes and does the challenge. If they do indeed fail, they go to what's called the dog pound. If they succeed, they get to send one of the other contestants over to the dog pound. This continues until we're left with 2 competitors who do a head-to-head challenge, and then whoever wins from that is the top dog, who then has to compete one last time against the dog pound. So in the final challenge, the top dog is given trivia categories, say like TV or movies, and they have to pick one of the people in the dog pound who they think will be the least likely to answer a question on that topic correctly. Then that player gets the opportunity to answer whatever the trivia question ends up being. Again, the top dog doesn't know the actual trivia question, just the category. If the person in the dog pound gets it correct, the dog pound gets a point. If they get it wrong, top dog gets a point. Whichever group gets to 3 first wins, and if it is the dog pound, they split the grand prize, which is $25,000 among them. But if the top dog wins, he gets the complete $25,000 amount. So you may be sitting here thinking, well, nothing really particularly wild feels like it's going on there. That just sounds like a generally good, fun little game structure we have going on. And you would be right, because the general game structure is not what made Dog Eat Dog such a wild show that people still think about in the deep recesses of their mind. It was the challenges that made this show absolutely bananas. A big headliner one that gets talked about and remembered a lot because of how wild it was, especially for the early 2000s, was a game called He or She. Generally how it worked, you would have 5 biological men up there and 1 biological woman, all dressed up in super hyper feminine drag, and the contestant would have to guess who the real woman was. They also did a version with a bearded woman up there with 5 bearded men, and the guy had to guess who the woman was. And honestly, I watched some clips back of 2 different times they played it in both of those, the bearded format and when they were all in drag, and I was expecting it to be a lot more cringe than it was. But for 2002 to 2003, very tame, very surprising. Part of me honestly feels like there could be a version of this game played today and it would be fun and camp, but I also wonder and worry about certain people in the world who are, transphobic and terrible, just completely ruining it. So in a perfect world, there could be a fun camp version of this on a game show, but I don't really know if that's actually possible. Another mainstay of the game that a lot of people remember it for is the different strip games they had. These were a variety of different challenges. They ranged from hangman to throwing a ball into certain targets, to darts, different things of that nature. It got discontinued in season 2, but it was pretty prevalent season 1. And yeah, I even saw people on forums trying to find like uncensored versions of some of those episodes. And it's kind of needless to say after that about why maybe they didn't want to do that in season 2. Because people are weird. And honestly, it's a weird game. And I should need to be crystal clear. When I say strip games, I mean the game didn't end until they were literally naked on TV. Like, that is what made them lose the game, was they would be butt naked birthday suit on the game. Truly wild. Along with that, though, just all the physical challenges were wild. Their set looked so fun and so cool. I remember as a kid, I always wanted to go on Dog Eat Dog just so I could play around on the set. Like, I don't think I would be able to do any of the challenges, but it always just looked so cool. Speaking of physical challenges I always wanted to try, one of them was called the pendulum swing, and literally, you were in this giant contraption, and you were having to force the thing to swing, and you need it to do a full 360 swing, I think in like a minute or two. I don't remember exactly how long. A short period of time. Wild. It looked so fun though, especially if you could start getting that thing going. Like, yes, I want to ride in that giant weird metal swing that might kill you. Of course. There was also a challenge where you would be on a treadmill above their pool having to answer trivia, and the treadmill would speed up over time, and if you fell, you fell. A lot of the challenges revolved around if you fell, you'd be like over that pool. Overall, they really made the most of their set with like the giant pool and everything else they had. Like, they were putting it to work. A lot of the physical challenges are very much kind of like Wipeout, based around like water and physical movements. For example, climbing on a net and having to collect flags and jump from net to net, getting flags between the different nets, or having to dive in a pool with different items to unlock boxes at the bottom of the pool, or going from these shaky platforms and falling into the pool. You see, the pool is a big main factor with this show. They also liked raining on people. One of the head-to-head challenges, when it was down to just 2 contestants, would be them literally just hanging while water is just pouring on them. They loved to make it rain on the contestants. That was also super popular in the show. I'm not going to go through every single challenge they had. If you want to go check any of them out, I would definitely, again, recommend going to that YouTube I talked about at the beginning. It's even split up between challenges, so if you want to go try to find a certain challenge, super easy to do that over there. Highly recommend it. It was a good time for me, especially if you've seen the show, just living down memory lane, just watching these people do things. I was like, oh yeah, that wasn't a fever dream. Like, I did watch somebody sit there and get rained on with just buckets of water falling on them. Just wild things. And of course, we can't talk about Dog Eat Dog challenges without talking about the big controversy that ended up surrounding Dog Eat Dog because of one of their challenges. During season 1, episode 1 of Dog Eat Dog, we see the final 2 contestants, one of which was Darren Goka, participate in a head-to-head final challenge where they are both strapped to this platform, submerged underwater, and have to see who can hold their breath the longest. They each have a little mechanism that they can pull to send them back up to the surface so they can forfeit and breathe again. And again, whoever is down there the longest wins. Unfortunately, due to some form of issue that truly there's not complete knowledge of, it seems like there might have been a malfunction in the harness and the mechanism that was supposed to release him. Darren ended up suffering from a brain injury due to this challenge. Darren did attempt to sue NBC for his damages, but the case was ultimately dismissed. I couldn't read really much more beyond that, necessarily why it was dismissed and all of that, but from what I can see, a lot of people speculated it was probably because of different clauses in his contract, and I would bet that's right, because a lot of those game shows do have weird clauses in there about, like, you know, we can kill you and do an oopsie, but, like, don't sue us. So that would make sense to me that would be why it's dismissed, but I don't know. And like I said, they aired that episode, but of course they didn't show anything about him getting injured. It's all kind of weirdly edited, and then we see the other contestant wins, and it cuts to final trivia, and they're like, oh yeah, Darren decided he didn't want to participate in the final trivia. Anyway, And then the show continues. It's very odd, especially going back and watching it, knowing what happened. Super weird. Unfortunately, there's a lot of rumors online that the man died from this, and like that's why the show was canceled and everything. That is not true. This man is alive and well. I saw somebody say that and say that he posts on Instagram, and I was able to confirm that with my own two eyes. Like, that man is fine. He is fine. The show did not kill him. It did, apparently, from what I can tell, maybe give him some sort of brain injury. I don't know the extent. It's really hard to find a lot of information on this case. Truly, old blog posts and comment sections and things like that got me to even having like a slight understanding of what might have happened. So why did NBC cancel Dog Eat Dog? Well, if you just try to Google that, AI, as usual, will lie to you on Google. It will say what I just finished talking about, that it was about that man, but I don't necessarily think that's entirely true. There are people who say, like, that lawsuit was the reason. I don't really know. It got dismissed. I saw other people saying it wasn't a very popular show at the time. I was trying to see if I could find, like, old ratings on it. Could not do that for the life of me, so if somebody knows how to do that, you know, definitely comment down below, because that's something I would definitely be interested in. And overall, maybe it was just a combination of those two things. The controversy around that man, along with, I can't imagine that show was super cheap, especially with the set. So maybe it just wasn't bringing in what they thought it would bring in. They just decided to cancel it. It was just another game show to them. Because at the end of the day, there are just like old random game shows that did just have 1 or 2 seasons back then. And we all look and we're like, why? But it's just the life of game shows. It's still like that today. A show will get 1 or 2 seasons and some people will be upset. And some people will never have heard of the show. AKA me with Netflix's Drink Masters that only has 1 season. Bring it back, Netflix. Anyway, our last little fun fact that I have for you all before we leave this beautiful journey we've been on of Dog Eat Dog is while I was looking through all the old episodes, I clicked on one because I was looking for certain challenges to rewatch. And I just currently finished watching House of Villains seasons 1 and 2. I hadn't seen them. And I was reintroduced to Richard Hatch from Survivor, the winner of season 1 Survivor. Reintroduced to him because of that show. So, then, find me clicking through all these different clips, and I see this man with the name Richard up there, and I'm like, that looks like Richard Hatch. But I was like, this is right when Survivor would have been. Why would he do Survivor and then, like, this show? But no, I was right. This Dog Eat Dog did a reality celebrity edition episode. I don't actually know if they did more than one. I didn't look into it after this because I just thought it was so funny. Because also, let me remind you, this was in 2002. Reality TV was so new. I was like, who did they bring on? And it ended up being Richard and then somebody else from Survivor. I'm so sorry, I cannot remember because I wasn't paying that much attention. 2 different people from Temptation Island. And then Nicole Brown's friend, whose name I also cannot remember because I'm not super familiar with the O.J. Simpson case. But that's why he was famous, just because of the O.J. Simpson case. Not a reality TV star. And then a 6th person who, I'm sorry to that man, but I don't remember them. How funny. Good for Dog Eat Dog shooting for the stars, trying to do, like, the reality TV stars section of a game while it's still, like, fresh and hot. I thought that was very cool and neato. Like, at this point, we've seen it 1,000 times. All-Stars versions of episodes. I mean, literally House of Villains is just bringing a bunch of reality TV stars together. But, again, this was 2002. Innovative. We love to see it. And that concludes everything I wanted to relive with you all about the early 2000s gem that was Dog Eat Dog. Was it wild and unnecessary at times with things it had contestants do? Yes. But was it memorable? Also, yes, for the niche amount of people who watched it. As always, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it. If you like reality TV, Shark Tank recaps, Shark Tank is coming back soon, but not soon enough. If you like any of that stuff, maybe check out the channel and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before my 3-year anniversary at the end of the year. So, you know, come check it out. It's a cool time over here. As always, I want to hear your thoughts, feelings, opinions, comments. Did you watch Dog Eat Dog? I especially want to know if you saw it like real life on NBC or if you watched reruns on GSN like I did as a kid. Very interested in that information. Let me know all that and more down below. And until then, I'll see you on the next one.